Today's one shot is brought to you by NexusDigitalComics.com. Hey guys, on this week's one shot, I talk about Killer Croc, the Arkham Deluxe figure, and I try to tie in some music. Let's get to it. Hey everybody, so on this one shot, I'm going to be talking about a figure, and like I said, I'm going to be doing my best to try to tie in a little bit of music, because I said last time that I'd do some music, so I found something that kind of works, so we'll get to that later. So first, we're going to start with a figure. If you watched Dual Review this week, you may have seen me play with Killer Croc here a little bit. Now, Nick and I both are really into figures. I definitely tend to go towards the art of a figure. I have them all over my studio. And he goes to the play value because he does tinker with stuff while he's thinking. So we kind of got both of them covered. He's a typical fan of like going to Toys R Us, see if there's any cool new figures, and I like that too. But I also do like Bowen and the Sideshow and all those more expensive figures that are they're in their pose, they're resin casts or whatever, so they don't have any mobility. This one's kind of in between because he definitely has some good art to him, a good sculpt. But he is also, articulate at least a little bit. We're going to go over the package first. This is the package here. We can see it's got some art on the side. That's kind of nice. But otherwise, it's very plain. He just sits there, in the package, just sitting there. It's got the little bit of peel away bit that the logo has now in the new 52. It just says right on the box, Arkham Asylum figure, Killer Croc. And then on the back, it has a few other figures that you can collect. We've got the, Mr. Freeze and the Titan Joker here. So anyway, so it's a decent box. It's fairly plain. The thing that makes it nice, though, plain isn't always bad. It's really easy to open. You can open it up, you slide it out. There's the figure right there, right inside. So you don't have to worry about destroying your box. So you can keep it if you want to, just have it on hand to increase the collector value or to resell it or whatever. You can still have that box. So all you have to do is move, undo the tape and you're away you go. So that's pretty decent. I don't mind that at all. I'm gonna put that over there. And so the figure itself, it's a good weighty figure. It's got these awesome chains, and it is actual. I think it's just pot metal, but it's actual metal for the chains. He's got them on each limb and around his neck. This little thing he has can slide on and off, but I don't know why you'd ever want to take it off. It's pretty essential, I think, to the piece. But I love his look. I loved his representation in the game, and he looks just like that. They did a great job, and this is part of what sold me. Is they did a great job sculpting the back. So even the back has all this detail. It looks awesome. So they did a really good job on the detail. He's got a lot of mobility in his feet. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but they move. So this is kind of a downside, actually. It's nice that they have some movement, but it makes it kind of difficult sometimes to balance him. So he's not necessarily the most sturdy figure. He's very top-heavy. But even because he's top-heavy, he does. If you have all the weight kind of going forward, then he's pretty solid. But they could have done a little better, maybe. Again, I love the sculpt. I love, the scaling and the, his belly and the inside of his arms and his wrists and his hands. I mean, they're very cool. It reminds me of the one of the Hulk, the Gray Hulk from Marvel, the Marvel Select series, where he has one fist and one open hand. Having talked about the articulation, it is not very versatile. Like, I was hoping that it would be a little bit more than most of the Marvel Select, so that I really wanted to have him look like he just broke the chains and kind of hunched down. He's already kind of hunched just because his spine is, curved like that. But there's no way to really get his legs in the position I want and still have it balanced. There's no real way to get the arms really don't. That's as much as you can bend the arm. It goes, straight to, that's a little stiff there, to about not even 45 degrees. So there's really not a whole lot you can do. The best pose is really just one arm straight and one maybe a little curved. So that's a little unfortunate. I really am waiting for the decent figure that I can pose. Like, I really want a Deadpool that I can pose in one of his wacky stances, or Spider-Man, that I can do in one of his classic poses. But I guess that's why I tend towards a lot of the Bowmen, because they're already, they're in that. Unfortunately, you can't move them and do any other kind of stance, but at least, it's more action-packed. It gets boring just having guys stand around all the time. But having said that, he's really a great figure. The one problem I have, it's really the only problem I have, is that he's so darn expensive. You're going to pay around 40 to 50 bucks depending on where you get him. And if he's worth that, it's just barely. And the reason that I say that is because the Marvel Select, they've been doing a great job. I have my favorite figure here, Juggernaut. We're going to put him over the side. Hopefully it'll stand there. I've got my favorite Marvel Select Juggernaut. He's even weightier. There's even more mass to him. Even though he's not quite as high, there's more mass to him. I think there is a little bit more articulation, even though it's still not a whole lot. You can't do much more than just standing, unfortunately. But here's the thing. He's half the price. Like, you can get him for under $25. Maybe not anymore, because he's been out for a while and they're not selling more of them right now. But brand new, he came out about $22, something like that, $22 to $24, and this guy was already like $45 at most places. So I have a problem with that. I really wish this is definitely the only one I would ever buy from that. Well, maybe the Titan Joker. We'll see, because it's such a unique figure and it's also probably pretty big. But like the Mr. Freeze, it's cool. He's got like a clear part, just like in Killer, they went the extra mile and did the chains. They did the extra mile on Mr. Freeze and had the clear glass and whatever. But he is like half of this figure. He's half the plastic. He's still molded okay. I'm not a huge Mr. Freeze fan, but he's the same price. At least in the Marvel Select, they're all low, and some of them are like 20, and some of them are about 25. So there's a little bit of range depending on the size of the figure. The Arkham City guys, or the Arkham Asylum collection, they're all the same price, and they're all very expensive. I don't like the Batman very much. I guess it's kind of cool that he's the right scale, so he's kind of diminutive in front of Killer Croc here, so that'd be cool, but I really don't like his sculpt, so I'm going to pass on that. I'm hoping to come out with a normal Joker. Maybe I'll really enjoy that one. But for now, I would recommend him if you're a real hardcore Killer Croc fan, or if you can find him for a little bit cheaper, then I think he's worth it. But he's the only character that's worth that price. And when you can get this awesome, big, heavy, the Hulk too, for 25 bucks, half the price. Yeah, I don't know. Just pick your battle there. So anyway, so that's the figure. I mentioned that I was going to do some music early on in the week, and so I was trying to tie in, and I did kind of tie in. There is a band called Little Hurricane, and so we're doing music now. Little Hurricane, if you're like me and you enjoy like Dead Weather and White Stripes and kind of that dirty blues thing they've got going on, Racketeers a little bit. There is a fairly new band. I think they started in 2010. They've only got one big album. It's Anthony and Celeste, CC and Tone, I think are their nicknames. Anyway, it's just a two-person band. They're called Little Hurricane. And the way I'm tying it in here is my favorite song is actually Crocodile Tears. So that kind of works. They're from Chicago, so it's funny. We're in Seattle. We have a lot of great bands, under our belt, that have come from here. But Chicago has a lot as well. And so that's another one from Chicago. We've got Smashing Pumpkins or whatever. Anyway, they've got the great blues tradition, and some of that is filtered in there. What I will say about Little Hurricane is that they're new. I don't think they've fully found their stride. So I'm really just kind of telling you guys, maybe this is a band you want to watch. If you're really into Dead Weather, then maybe you can watch this band. They have a very similar feel, but it's cleaner, and it's definitely not as enthusiastic. It's more laid back. A lot of their songs are a bit repetitive. They're all pretty short. Some of them don't even really have choruses. They just have the same thing over and over. But having said that, I do enjoy it, and it's really great in the mix. Like the Kills and Dead Weather and Racketeers and White Stripes and Little Hurricane. If you put them all together and just kind of do the random thing, they fit right in. I'm going to be attaching on my blog on it's rjstake.blogspot.com, just rjaystake.blogspot.com. I'm going to be doing a couple sample songs. What is it? Tear Bucket, I think, is another one of my favorites, and that one kind of goes towards the more indie, like Grizzly Bear. If you've ever heard of Grizzly Bear, it's a little similar to that. I'm definitely going to be talking about Grizzly Bear on another one shot, but because I mentioned music, I wanted to bring up Little Hurricane. Go check them out on my blog, or go to Spotify or Pandora or what have you, and look them up. I don't think you'll be sorry if you like that kind of music. They're pretty good, and they're definitely one to watch. I think they'll get better. I'm not a huge fan. It's not like my the best album ever or anything, but it is a decent band, and it tied into the Killer Croc thing. Crocodile Tears, don't kill me. I tried. That's what I came up with. So, all right. So yeah, kind of if you're really into figures, you're really into Killer Croc, then I recommend him. Otherwise, you probably could spend your money more wisely. Couldn't we all? At least I have him. I know Nick's jealous. But anyway, he doesn't transform. Otherwise, Nick would have to have him. Anyway. All right, guys. I think that's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.